Arrange's smart automation technology does all the heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is just designate the client and the candidate. That's really it. And the rest unfolds automatically.
Welcome to the Tech Savvy Recruiter, the podcast for recruitment and staffing agency owners keen to explore the tech innovations reshaping our industry. I'm Andrew Roger from RecMate.
And I'm Belinda Kerr from Recruitment Garage, and together we're your hosts, bringing you a stellar lineup of recruitment tech and AI experts ready to help you understand and, more importantly, benefit from the increasing array of tech available to you today. Delighted to welcome our guest today, Brian Gabay, the founder of Arrange. Brian has a long history in recruitment and has been running his own agency since 2016, but more recently, due to some frustrations, mainly organising interviews, he created Arrange, which is a scheduling platform created specifically for recruiters to make arranging interviews effortlessly smooth. So today, we're keen to chat to Brian about his journey from recruitment founder to tech entrepreneur. So welcome, Brian. Anything to add there?
Thank you so much. No, first of all, thank you for having me, Belinda and Andrew. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. No, you made a great introduction. I've been recruiting for over a decade and I turned tech founder. I'm a non-technical founder. That's not really my background, but I got into it purely from a pain point and frustration, and I couldn't find a solution. So had to build it somehow, some way. We got here, and really, really grateful to be here.
Interesting. But yes, two very different roles of recruitment founder to tech entrepreneur. But it's interesting.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing an increasing number of people do it, and it's working. And I think it's great because you understand both sides of the coin. So with that, wearing both hats, the recruitment business owner and now tech founder, just take us back to the moment where that frustration that you mentioned, that pain point of booking meetings prompted you to build Arrange. And what was the specific pain point that triggered it?
Absolutely. So I'm a recruiting agency staffing owner. So I run a boutique agency. We're based in New York. We specialize in PR and marketing recruitment. At the time, a couple of years ago, we were doing a lot of high volume scheduling. So any external recruitment agency recruiters out there, or even internal recruiters out there, you can probably understand the pain point. We're not talking about the scheduling one-to-one candidate screeners. We're talking about bringing external parties together, so clients and candidates, for example. And as we all know, there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of manual coordination. It takes a lot of time away from what we should be doing, sourcing, screening, submitting candidates to clients. But, we find ourselves in a lot of administrative duties and just scheduling, right? So I was at the point of massive frustration. I was pulling my hair out. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. So I did a lot of research. I actually demoed a lot of different tools, scheduling tools out there on the market. And I just couldn't find anything that really kind of fit the bill, really solved the real pain point that we were experiencing. And I was really surprised, we're solving the middle person's scheduling experience, which a lot of these scheduling systems tend to ignore, surprisingly. So after, time of thinking of what we can do, I put my vision to paper and then teamed up with a development team and went to work. And fast forward after probably, I would say, 2 years of trial and error, a lot of testing, a lot of feedback, a lot of market research, blood, sweat, and tears. There's a will, there's a way. And here we are. I'm proud to introduce Arrange. It is an incredible, powerful scheduling system built specifically for the middle person, bringing external parties together.
Yeah, and you and we spoke a week or so ago, and you gave me a walkthrough, and I thought for what you've created and the value that you offer, I'm sure that you're going to absolutely go great guns. So yeah, excited to dig in a bit deeper, and towards the end of the episode, we'll talk a little more about Arrange and share more of why people should be looking at it more closely.
So what I just heard, you launched earlier this year after a couple of years of build, trial, fail. A brave move, I think, in a crowded tech market, let's call it. So recruitment background, no development experience. How did you sort of pull that all together from ideation of that, friction point through to building a tech solution? I'd love to know more.
Yeah. Absolutely. So first off, you're right. I don't have a technical background, so it's kind of like, where do you start? So I did research. Actually, couple of my friends are in the development, tech world. So I came to them for some guidance. One of my good friends, he helped me, sit down and, really brainstorm the technical side of Arrange. And a few months later, got introduced to another development team who I met with the founder, and, I told him all about my vision and everything. We mapped out the market. We did it again, more and more deeper research. And it looked like there was a true pain point because, when you're solving a solution for yourself, yes, it can be a great idea, but you really can't just go based off your own experience, right? You have to really kind of map out the market because, yeah, chances are if you're feeling it, most recruiters are probably feeling it too. Because if you've been doing this for a while, chances are, you're not alone, right? But we really did a, deep dive, and the dev team have been amazing. Really, what started here is now an actual real product, and it's incredible what you can do with technology. It's absolutely amazing. I've learned so much from this experience. I feel like I can kind of be a low-key developer at this point. That's how much I've learned.
Well,
That's impressive.
It's wild.
It's
wild.
It's obviously a really steep learning curve, and you're probably juggling so many different balls in the air right now because you've got your recruitment staffing firm, and then you've got this development business. How do you do it all in one day? I'd love to know about your schedule, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And then when I on my free time, I'm chasing my 16 months old son. So there's a lot going on. But I think you have like 5 children, so you're on a different planet than me.
16-month-old daughter. So snap there.
Wow. Hey, maybe they'll hang out. Maybe they'll one day. You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
So
a lot on your plate, obviously, with
of course,
the toddler. Maybe a toddler business, the dev side of things.
Yeah.
And then you've got your staffing firm as well. So 3 babies, plus about a half, I'd imagine. And then, a lot of juggling.
Yes. I mean, I think what I've learned from this experience is you have to learn to delegate more. You know what I mean? Time management and put more trust in your colleagues and employees, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't do it all, especially managing the recruitment firm, right? We're a team of 5, so it's a lot of like client management, team management, as you can imagine, that goes into this, and building a range which is a whole different ballpark, when, and you have to devote a lot of time to it. It's delegation, putting trust into my colleagues, giving them more responsibility. I used to always be, as a recruitment firm owner, I feel like a lot of people can relate. It's scary to give, put trust into people and give them more opportunity and responsibility. It's your baby. So you kind of want to have that control and ownership at all times. But I've learned to let go. If the people that work with you, if you give them more autonomy and trust and responsibility, it kind of shows them that they can really be who they are and shine and build their own relationships, not only just through me, but it's also bettering them, and it's a win-win. And having that mindset really frees up a lot of time for me to focus on Arrange and building it.
Yeah, that's so good. I think it might have fast-tracked that development in yourself by not having the time to spend on everything, right? And so you probably had to make a call at some point. Well, hey, I've just got to let go of some stuff, put the trust in my team, and then manage it from that next level up.
Let's put it this way. I used to be the only person on new business calls on the recruitment side, and then I would report back to my team. Now it's a group Zoom call. We're all on the meeting together. This way, once we have that conversation, everyone's in the know. I don't have to, everyone kind of has their own visual and experience, and that's been so helpful.
Yeah, it's such a great point you make. Delegation. I think there's 2 really big levers in any business. One is delegation and the other is consistency. And I see so many founders that I work with, Brian, that they struggle to let go and delegate. But the ones that are successful, they're like, I can delegate whatever I can. So it's really important. I'd love to know what surprised you about this, because 2 very different things, running a business and creating a tech product. I can't imagine how different they must be. So I'm just curious to know what surprised you, what has surprised you most about this?
What surprised me most about this is how hard it is, before, when I had the idea of the scheduling, system and how it can make everyone's life easier, right? In my mind, I'm like, this is going to be a home run, right? We're going to get to work and within like a few months, we're going to have thousands of users and it's going to be so easy. No. I mean, look, as great as it is, and no matter what business you're in, as great as your product is, right? No one cares about you, your story, the product. It's really about what you're going to do for them. What is Arrange going to do for them? What is the problem that's going to be solved, for them? How are they going to feel through this? And I feel like I didn't know that starting off. I thought it's going to be all rosy and easy, right? But as you go through this experience, it's so true. No matter what you have to offer, as much as you believe in it and how great it is, it's still, you're talking to someone that is not familiar with Arrange, is not familiar with anything. And now you're telling them, hey, we have this amazing solution that's going to save you time, relieve frustration, and just elevate the whole scheduling experience, not only for you, but for clients and candidates. Yes, it sounds fantastic, right? But now you're asking them to change their old ways, what they've been doing for the past X plus amount years, right? What they're used to, and changing to something different. But we know it's going to be better for them, but they don't know that. So what I've learned is people need to try things for themselves, experience things for themselves, and assess by themselves before they can commit to making that full adoption change. And, but we can tunnel vision. All we can do is create something really amazing and special and put it out there in the world and hope for people that catch on and adopt to it, because we know it's going to really help them in a lot of ways.
And even if something's free, even if there's a free trial period, people are still weighing up, yeah, but I'm busy. Do I have the time to actually give this thing a go? So you've got that. What about the actual and like this is I know nothing about software development, so like stepping into that world, and I know you've got a team that do everything, what was your role then in all of that?
Yeah, I'm basically the visionary behind it, right? So I'm kind of like the head coach, of Arrange, and I have my offensive coordinator, my development team, and then we have the defense coordinator, It's just kind of like everyone has different roles in this, but me specifically, I'm the one kind of like, all right, this should go here. It would be great if we can put this. This is what we need to do. I'm kind of like guiding the development team, based off my experience, my market research, my feedback that I'm hearing from other users, and just talking things through. So it's a big role. But I love every minute of it. Truly, it's been amazing.
So that's really interesting. So what would you say then, Brian, to another recruitment founder like yourself is sitting there going, man, this is just annoying me, this problem. What would you say to them? Like, where should they start if they're thinking about potentially going down a similar path?
Do it.
Just do it.
Because someone else will. All you have right now, people can say, look, I don't know if it's the right time. I have this life change, personal thing. I totally get it. And sometimes life takes you places and holds you back and puts a little bit of a pause. But if you truly believe in something, do a ton of research. Don't jump the gun, because it could exist. Someone else could be doing something similar, whatever, but it's okay. Even if the Apple iPhone wasn't the first phone, right? So, even if something exists, if you're going to do something similar, make sure you have some sort of competitive advantage, a strategic plan on how you're going to tackle the market when you're in launch mode, and don't hold back. Execute. So many people talk, they don't walk. So my advice is, if you're feeling something, dive in with AI, ChatGPT, all these tools that talk to you, right? And you can really do it, deep research. Have fun with it. Toy around, and once you're at the point that you're like, you know what, I'm ready. Actually, I take that back. You'll never feel ready. You just got to jump into it and execute, honestly.
Yeah, that's perfectionism isn't ever a thing that you can, I think, achieve often. You've just got to get in there and just get dirty, start doing it. And I think
come on, we only have one life to live, right? So fast forward your life, fast forward 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, you want to look back. When you tell your story, you want to say, I did this, I did that, I did that, I did this. You don't want to say, I had an idea, I had an idea, I had an idea, I had an idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Build your legacy.
Yeah, 100%. Cool.
Interesting. You raised Apple, the Apple phone, and Steve Jobs, and I think he was famous in quoting that people actually don't know what they want. So you have to educate the market, and then sell your product or service to the market once they understand their pain point, understand what they actually
without
need.
a doubt.
So I think earlier in the conversation you were talking around building that brand, building a market for your product, and listen. There is no recruiter out there who hasn't experienced the pain that you experienced that caused you to build this product, right? The back and forth between the client, the candidate, or a panel, even worse. A panel interview is a nightmare. So having a tool set like you've developed just makes so much sense. But to your point earlier, how much, I guess, the build phase and then, your actually selling phase, were there any surprises there for you that you thought, this is kind of a little bit different to what I might have expected? We've got this great product. Why wouldn't people just go, hell, this is going to save me so much time. Why wouldn't I buy it?
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. We changed a lot of things as we went, and we got to work, and we actually developed a range initially for the first 8 months. Paused it, changed it completely, just because I was talking to a lot of clients and candidates, and as we went on, I was hearing certain things that I'm like, you know what, maybe we should do it this way. Maybe we should pause on what we actually built. And so there's a lot of just kind of turning around, running, rewinding. It's been crazy, but it's interesting because now the product is actually a combination of everything. It's what the initial vision was, right? When I first thought about it, to so many other new things along the way based off feedback, based off this. So now there's a numerous different scheduling flows through Arrange that are super, super effective.
It sounds like you learned a lot during that build phase, taking your recruitment brain and then your, development brain and putting those two together and getting that feedback along the way. I think that iterative feedback along the way from customers, if you keep checking in with your customers regularly, you get so much feedback and good ideas around how can the product serve the market a little bit better than it is already.
Yeah. And I think that's what sets us apart a little bit, honestly. It's really built through a recruitment person's lens, right? It's very thought out. And, I'm very used to that fast paced recruiting world of juggling a lot of clients and candidates, and there's a lot of coordination involved, and we don't have access to this person's calendar and this person's calendar. So Arrange was really built out for someone that is in the middle and has to deal with all this coordination around them, perhaps people that are outside of their organization. Anyone that uses Arrange will recognize that pretty quickly, I believe.
Yeah, so interesting. And with, I was just thinking, with that adoption phase for your, customers, when, recruitment and staffing firms are picking up new technology, adopting that into their, way of doing things, their daily flows, what challenges did you see with those clients, making that change? And maybe how can other firms avoid that change process gap, in making a seamless pathway from adoption, implementation, and then actually getting return on investment for tech?
Yeah. No, it's a great question. I think, look, change in general is tough. It's taking a leap of faith in something that is unknown, but sometimes those are the best things that we can do for ourselves, So educating them, I believe the walkthrough, the demos, and really answering any questions they might have, and showing them testimonials of other users in their shoes and how they're adopting to Arrange and how it's really changing the game for them, how many hours they're saving on average on a weekly basis, how their clients and candidates are happy and the feedback that they're giving them. So once they see these real, true human stories and visuals, adapting to this change is, makes it slightly easier. So we're doing whatever we can to really educate them and show them, because at the end of the day, to put things in simple terms, Arrange, their one flow is called Arrange Connect. We can basically create booking pages for our clients and hiring managers. So if you're comparing it to Calendly, which Calendly, you have your booking page for yourself that you send out to other. Imagine we created Calendly booking links for all of our clients. You know what I mean? That's one flow. And another flow is called candidate scheduling links. So instead, when you send a resume to a client, instead of asking them, do you want to meet this candidate? You can just say, if you want to meet this candidate, click here. We're embedding a scheduling link in our submission. The recruiter sets it and forgets it. We don't have to do anything anymore. Through smart automation, the interview gets arranged, the invites get sent out, and we're always in control. There's a thing on the Arrange dashboard called Live Stage Track. So it's a live status tracker of everything that's happening until the interview gets arranged. So the recruiter can step in at any time. They're always in the know where it is in the process. It really is a scheduler's dream, truly.
Yeah, and I think reducing those friction points is critical, isn't it? Because that's where the money's lost. CV goes over, you're waiting to get back. In the meantime, someone else comes forward and time kills deals, right? So if we can truncate that, make it easier for all parties, that's a smart thing. So if you think just sort of more generally then about founders at the moment, we know this from research that founders are feeling really overwhelmed by the amount of AI and tech is out there. That's the first problem. And then the second problem is they're not sure how to implement. And so given that you are a recruiter and you've obviously implemented some tech yourself, you've built your own tech, people feeling that way about AI and tech in general with all tech, have you got some advice there or thoughts around how that can be made easier for the general recruitment founder?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many different platforms out there that solve different, pain points. My suggestion is think about what's your pain points first. What kind of problems do you need to solve first before you get overwhelmed, right? A lot of ATSs typically have different functionality and features that can kind of cover a lot of different other tools on the market in all in one place. So maybe limiting it, or if you're going to use a tool like Arrange, make sure there's integration. Going back, we do have integrations with top ATSs, so it's kind of like it's all in one. They both speak to each other with scheduling. Make sure whatever you do, try to maybe if you have a tool that you currently use that's solving one specific pain point, maybe dive deeper. There could be something that they're already working on or already have rolled out that you're not even aware of. You know what I'm saying? So try things out. Most of these tools have free trials, no card required. You have nothing to lose. Try things out for yourself and see what works for you. And don't hesitate. Change is a good thing. Trust me. You got to just go for it because the world's evolving and you got to keep up with it.
Cool. Thank you. Good advice there.
Yeah, I think if I was just thinking, if you map out your process, you'll find a couple of pain points quite quickly with the team. So spend a bit of time with the team and say, okay, so this is our prospecting through to our post-placement care process and everything in between, right? So what are the key stages there that we spend time in that we perhaps don't need to spend time, or we're better profitably to spend time elsewhere? And then is there a tech solution that can help us expedite that stage of the process? So it's interesting that a lot of companies that we help don't have that journey map, which does take a bit of time to do, but I think it's such a profitable experience when you're looking at your systems and processes to find out what are those crunch points for your customers that they don't get a delight because it is just a bit of a pain in the butt. How can we expedite that stage? How can we make it a delight to do business with? And if we can't do it internally, what tech partners, and I loved how you mentioned integrations. I'm a big fan, making sure that with your core platform, best preference for me is always to buy something that is an integrated product. It just cuts that adoption down so much, adoption time down so much more rapidly. Of course, it's a little bit easier now with the, I guess, most platforms do have a good API structure, but still there's a friction point there if that supplier hasn't done business with that firm, that core ATS before. I think that makes a lot of sense there. With I was just thinking also as you're talking around getting customers, I think is a big missed opportunity getting customer generated content around their experience. So I think that's something that you guys I'm sure have got on the roadmap to get your customers to explain how much time, how much more fun they're having doing this stage of the process there. And and I think that's just such a big win that you can have with that marketing side of the business.
I really liked what you said, Brian, about the look at the platforms and what they're building in. We recently went through an exercise with all of the I don't know how many many subscriptions we had on different things that we were testing and trialing, and some of them slipped past and you end up, having a paid platform there that you didn't maybe intend to buy. And in going through all that, it was amazing how, as the features were being added, features we were paying for over here, and then we bought this other piece of tech that didn't have it, all of a sudden has this feature too, and you're doubling up. And obviously it's getting less expensive to add in these different features. And I think that's one that's often overlooked, because so often these platforms will do more than or even when you buy them in 6 months' time, they can look totally different. I mean, if you think about the rate that you're moving with Arrange, your product's going to look,
oh my gosh,
even, probably unrecognizable to what it is today in just 12 months.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good point you make. And I think I know for us, we were there was like money dripping out going, why are we spending that money on that? As we engage more and more tech, we're going to be, putting out more and more money. We want to make sure that we're not doubling up. So I really like that point you made too.
Yeah, it's funny. I've got a customer who cancels his credit card every year, just so he doesn't have to go through a manual process. He then gets the emails from the supplier saying, hey, we've just tried to bill your credit card. It's expired, et cetera, et cetera. And then that's a forced way for him to go through his list of subscriptions.
I did that by default, and it worked. My credit card was compromised, and that happened. Exactly that happened. I was like, oh, what was that charge? What was that charge? And that was like a year or so ago. But now I'm a little bit more on top of it and make sure that I don't do it. But yeah, it's a good
It's funny. It's funny. People, no, it's funny because we look so like deep into like these like SaaS models, these tech subscriptions and whatnot. But like on any other day, you'd go out and spend like $100-$200 just by leaving the house. Like I live in New York. I leave the house. I don't even know what happens or what is purchased. $100 just to step out of the house. It's a minimum payment of $100. Ask any New Yorker, they'll tell you the same thing. It's wild. But then you look at like something that is really useful that you're going to probably use every single day, and you're like, what? That's $20 a month? Like what?
We're funny creatures, aren't we?
It's crazy.
We are funny creatures. So yeah, I want to hear a bit more about Arrange in a minute. But if we sort of, assuming that Arrange is something that we're going to take on, if you had to pick outside of Arrange, that would be your first thing, obviously. But if you had to pick another process that every founder, you believe should automate first, or some other tools, because you're in that world, just love to know what your thoughts are on that as well, Brian.
It's a good question. I mean, depending what industry that you're working on, right? I think it should be something maybe if you want it professional or personal. You know what I mean? Personal. I mean, I feel like we can all come up with some cool ideas, right? On a personal basis. But like meet like your idol, right? I would love to go back in time and have a technology that can introduce me to Elvis Presley. I used to impersonate Elvis growing up as a kid. That's why I say Elvis. Yeah,
I thought that might be a side gig you still do.
Yeah, right. I still got the lip. They were remote. But no jokes aside, I think on a professional basis and from a recruitment perspective, obviously it's highly competitive. The sourcing automation market is really, really highly competitive. So it's hard that's a really great question you asked. I have to give it a little bit more thought, because, our job is really, connecting people to other people at the end of the day. Right. So I feel like a lot of tech companies or, ATSs or just new tech companies are trying to make sourcing simpler. But what about like maybe flip the switch, maybe business development? As an external recruiter, you need clients, right? You need BD. And a lot of people can, automate the outreach and automate this. But what about like, what? We'll do this off camera because I might have an idea. So I don't know if I can share it with you right now.
He's just spun up something else from this session. Maybe
I just thought about something pretty cool.
Some sort of partnership. BK.
So next time we speak, you're going to have 5
to be continued.
5 different products on the go. Yeah, because now this was just your practice one. You're often.
Yeah.
Let's hear about Arrange. We've had little spatterings throughout, but talk a little bit more about what it's designed to do, how you're seeing it help founders now, and we'll also drop a link in the show notes, Brian, if people want to have a closer look or a demo, I guess. Do you do those? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll drop the link to the homepage. There's also an explainer video right on the homepage that'll give you a good background on, on how it works and everything. But essentially, Arrange was designed to get our time back from all the administrative scheduling duties. On average, recruiters spend over 70% scheduling interviews, which is a crazy statistic. So think about the pain points there, right, for a second. So Arrange comes in, you don't have to worry about coordination anymore. You don't have to go back and forth to the client and the candidate. Arrange's smart automation technology does all the heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is just designate the client and the candidate. That's really it. And the rest unfolds automatically. So the time saving is unbelievable. Arrange is also white labeled. Anyone that signs up, your recruiting company, your logo's on all the forms, on all the signatures, everything. So it kind of looks like it's your proprietary scheduling system that you've actually built. So it's really, really neat in that regard. It elevates your client experience, your candidate experience. It's like when you're using Arrange, everyone's like, whoa, this is so easy and so cool. Like, it's awesome. You know what I mean? And it makes you look cool. It makes you look like you're ahead of the times, right? And it saves time for everyone. So at the end of the day, stop going back and forth. There's no need for it anymore. There's no need. Check out Arrange. You can check out the website, letsarrange.io. As I mentioned, there's an explainer video right on the homepage. There's a 14-day free trial. No card required. You have nothing to lose. Play around with it. Arrange some interviews, and you'll never go back.
Awesome. I like your pitch. It's good. And as I said, you showed me the product a couple of weeks ago, and that's why I was keen to get you on the show. I thought it was great. And
thank you.
Show me a recruiter that likes admin, and I'll show you a purple squirrel.
But I think you really touched on something around professionalism, because I love the Formula One racing. And if you have a look now, they're in the pit and out of the pit within 2 seconds.
Right.
Backtrack 5 years,
2
10
seconds?
years. Yeah, 4 tires, full fuel, 2 seconds, in and out. Done. Backtrack 5 years, even 20 years, there was one person changing tires. There was another person fueling up, and that was a much longer process. So unfortunately, a lot of us in the staffing world, recruitment world, don't often sharpen the axe of how we do things. We do it the same way we've always done it. And that's fine. It's human nature. But to take the next step up in professionalism, say, hey, I've got this under control. This is my lifeblood. We've invested in making your experience, Mr. Customer, Ms. Customer, the best experience for this process. And a lot of
nailed it.
A lot of companies don't, I guess, think of it from that perspective around, hey, this is our brand. The experience that we provide is our product. We don't have a widget that we sell as recruiters. We've got an experience that we're selling at the end of the day. So why wouldn't you make it as easy as possible?
We're not solving a solution, for a different industry, something that we've never experienced ourselves. So really well said. I like how you just framed that. That was awesome. Appreciate that.
You can borrow it if you want the F1.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great. And that's why I wanted to have you on, Brian. And honestly, we wish you all the very best, and keep in touch and let us know of your updates. We're happy to share the word. I'll pop the link in the show notes as well. So people, you might have just said, I might have missed it, but what's the best way for people to reach out to you directly?
Yeah, of course. Well, let's connect on LinkedIn if you have any questions or whatnot, first and foremost. But the website Arrange is letsarrange.io. Check out the homepage. There's an explainer video right there. There's a lot of cool information that you can kind of dig into and learn about Arrange. Try out the free trial. And I'm here, I give everyone, no matter if it's a one-person shop to a 100-person shop or more, everyone gets the red carpet treatment from me. So any questions, I'm here for it. I welcome it. And I hope that next time we meet, can we do it on maybe a beach in Australia or something like that? I would love that.
Yeah, we'll do it from BK's backyard. That's
I'm not far from the beach.
Lovely.
On that note, well, I need to get back to New York. I haven't been to New York for years. I love New York. It's just mad. I love it.
Yeah, New York's obviously. I'm a New Yorker. I born and raised in New York. But sometimes it's nice to kind of be, at a beach or something a little bit more calmer. It's really noisy in New York, as you probably know. So
yeah, I watch enough TV that's filmed in New York. The horns and the noises and stuff. Well, hey, thank you so much, Brian, for coming on today. We wish you all the very best with the product.
My pleasure.
And your agency as well. And
Thank
we
you.
look forward to having you back at some point and hearing of the next iteration or the next project that you build. It sounds like there could well be more in the pipeline for you.
And like you said, in 6 months from now, it's probably going to be completely different from where we are right now, in only for the better. So
Absolutely.
we're constantly evolving.
Awesome.
Appreciate you both. You guys are so awesome. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. Really grateful.
Pleasure.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Brian. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of The Tech Savvy Recruiter. If you'd like to stay up to date with the latest recruitment trends and insights, make sure that you remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Also, if you'd like to speak to Andrew about turning your tech stack into your secret weapon, or myself around creating an agency that delivers you more money, more meaning, and more freedom, we'd absolutely love to chat. Reach out to us on LinkedIn, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for your support.